let's be real. Dudes don't be open about what they're really on.
If they find enough, we're gonna trick them a little bit.
That's manipulation, and in reality, that's a certain level of the R word that I don't want to say. Because if you have to manipulate somebody out of some coochie, you are no different than the person that held her down in the alley behind closed.
That's different.
That's next level.
I know it's a hard pill to swallow, guys.
It ain't no hard pill to swallow. That's some psychiatric ward type situation. You walk around thinking because a nigga,
if you have to game a girl out of coochie,
game of life. Like
if you have to game a girl out of coochie, you are just as bad as the guy that does physical.
Nah, they're on the same spectrum. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely is.
What about when the girl games a guy?
What's that called? That's the R word.
She's the same thing.
It's called a thief.
It's called a city girl.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man.
What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. So you all see the clip that I just played. I actually just edited this. I actually recorded this, the audio for it a couple of days ago, like maybe 4 days ago. But I decided, because I was really annoyed by what I heard. So I'm listening to the Dumper, YouTube channel. Shout out to him. Check out his link in the description. He does good reactions. And it was one video where he was talking about this wasn't even like the main part of the video, but the main part of the video was really about them wanting food and stuff like that. So definitely check out the video in general. And it's got Mr. Organic in here, and Rico is in here. So this is a clip of that, but I really wanted to highlight this, and he actually had his commentary on there as well, so check that out as well. But I wanted to really highlight this video because this is like some really egregious stuff that's going on right here. So you obviously heard the clip, so I get it. This is what I really want to say when it comes to that. I'm going to get to the outrage of it all, but one thing I want to highlight that I didn't highlight in the first audio was how the men responded. So, Mr. Organic is not generally a dude that quote unquote comes out of he's not somebody that's gonna really get real hyped up about something, because he doesn't have to. And so from that perspective, he basically responded the way it needed to be responded. He kind of shut that down. He literally said, you in a psych ward with that. And so he made it very clear that it's not something he agrees with. And truth be told, based on what he said in the initial part of the conversation, where he said sometimes you gotta quote unquote trick them, he had to say something, because that was a direct attack on him and his name, which, real talk, that's defamation. That's, in my opinion, that's a defamation case what she did. That's like the type of thing where it's like, yo, you need to take this podcast down, because I don't even want you even playing with my name even around the way like that. Like, straight up, I come on here and you actually throwing our word out because you upset about a conversation. That's unacceptable. And if and I'm the type of dude that I would have did that, because people will literally use this and then they'll try to blow that up because he talked about tricking them. Mr. Organic is not tricking nobody. Let's stop playing. That's number one. But Rico disagreed, but man, Rico didn't disagree enough. Like, the way they let her just carry on this conversation, the way they let them just say this, I really need you to understand that. Notice how none of the women went against what she said. Notice how they're just having a conversation as if what she said wasn't out of pocket, out of the ordinary. Regardless if you don't agree with it or not, y'all just carry it on like what she said was normal. That's like a man talk about, well, sometimes you gotta just slap a chick around, when she got an attitude. You gotta kind of jack her up a little bit in order, to get her back in her body when she decides she want to come out. And then dudes just carry on the conversation. Like, some dudes, man, no, I don't agree with that, blah, blah, blah. But there's not a hard stop into really going into what do you mean, give me an example, really making somebody commit to that and challenge that ideology. See, men will be held accountable for not doing that, versus this conversation just continues. It continues, and Dumper goes through more of it, but it continues as if she never said that. And this is not just something she just said and it was a passing thing. She doubled down on this. And so I really want people to really understand that. And the thing is, This is why I say men have to start drawing red lines, on these things. Like, for real. Because she is way too comfortable saying that on a podcast. Because, here's the thing. What she pretty much admitted to is the psychology behind a lot of women that lie. Because in their mind, they're not lying. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Women do not care about what's the truth. They don't. And that's how I would have said a lot of things with this, but that's how I would have challenged her. I said the truth don't really matter. It's what you feel. If you feel you were done wrong, then really the objective is to get that man in trouble. That's the goal. So you lying is just a means to an end. And the reality is, women don't have to pay consequences for lying. Now, if a black woman lies on a white man, there are consequences to these things. For instance, that woman, I go back to the Duke lacrosse case. The Duke lacrosse case. There are consequences to what she did. And she ended up going to jail for something else, actually. But they made her admit that. Like, you don't see black women lying on white men. Because there are real consequences that are going to come down on them for doing that. If for nothing else, that they gotta defend themselves, and they have to guard against that. But they're allowed to do this. And men have this thing where men, even though, like Rico, I'm like, yo, why did you let her? Because Rico would have got real mad if somebody would have talked about jacking a female up. Now, he wouldn't have let that just go by. Oh, I got my daughter and all that. Yeah, he kind of disagreed with it, but he didn't really like shut that down. Like he really should have shut that down. Like he should have really made her commit to why because she was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. No, you're not. Like, do you not understand that what you're doing is supposed to be illegal? Nobody just never pursues that. And then not only that, you are putting yourself in real danger. If you dealing with a dude that's really about that life and you start putting that kind of heat on his name, there's no telling what can happen to you. Not only that, if you go around telling other people that happened, you got people that will kill people for that. And that's why I keep saying, y'all got to start putting these women on conspiracy charges. If a dude does something to a man and it can be shown that a woman put a battery in his back, yeah, that dude should get the maximum penalty of the law. But the woman needs to start getting charged too. Because women, a lot of black on black violence is off of stuff like what she did. I would want her to explain. What do you... Okay, Mr. Organic said trick out of some coochie. What does he mean by that? But really, what do you mean? Like, I need you to map me a scenario where you think that this happened so you can say sexual assault, like you were sexual assaulted. And not even sexual assault, because all sexual assault ain't R. If I grab your behind without your permission, technically I assaulted you sexually. That is not the same as what she described, pinning you down and taking it. That is not the same thing. I'm not saying one is right, but let's be clear here. Grabbing somebody's behind, stealing a kiss is not the same as doing that. Let's cut that crap out. And I would have asked her, what do you mean? Okay, if I get you drunk and I'm not drunk, you can't prove I did that for the purpose, because it's this idea of, so women don't drink on their own. So if you drink and I don't drink because I just don't drink, now because I had sex with you, I assaulted you. Now that's a lot more closer to an argument, even though that's BS, because everybody don't drink. Floyd Mayweather don't drink. So if Floyd Mayweather have sex with a chick that's drunk, then that's somehow her fault, his fault. Now people can say that you get somebody drunk for the purposes, but again, nobody's shoving the alcohol down their throat. And see, that's a lot more gray area, to be honest. And dudes need to protect themselves by not being in those situations. But that's not what she's talking about, because that's not what he was saying. He was basically talking about running game. So I need to understand what verbal communication qualifies. If I lie and I say let's keep it real. Let's say I lie. Let's say I lie about, let's say I rent a car. Let's say I rent a Ferrari or something. Let's just say that. I rent a Ferrari. I'm going out on the town. I rent a Ferrari. And let's say I just outright lie. And I say I'm somebody I'm not. Let's say I'm connected to somebody I'm not. You believe that. Let's say I'm connected to whatever celebrity that these chicks like, or influencer, whatever. And I'm just outright lying, capping. It's not true. I am just completely making up a 100% fraud. I haven't said I give you money or nothing like that, but I'm a fraud. I'm just completely playing a role that, and I'm broke. Somehow I came across it, whatever. I saved my money up. I really make $30,000. I saved my money up to do this for this one night. And let's say you have sex with me and you wouldn't have sex with me if you did not believe, because I basically manufactured status by proxy. Let's say I'm able to pull that off. And you would not generally have sex with me if that wasn't true. That is not sexual assault. You can argue that's messed up, but that is not sexual assault. That is not sexual assault. That is not that is not me pinning you down. So I really would like to know, and put it in the comment section, if you're a female, you come across this, I want to know what words, what combination of words can be used that basically, because these words were used and you had sex, you consented to sex based on the words that were used. I need a scenario that's based on words only, that if you have sex with a man, you think you could take it to court. And this is why a lot of these women don't, because you got to think about taking, I want that. Because this is why women don't be getting these kits. This is why these women be waiting and they want to sue people. Because as far as I'm concerned, in 2025 and really post-COVID, there is no scenario, in my opinion, where you don't go and make a statement within at maximum 48 hours. 48 hours after you've been assaulted. And really, it should be immediately. Because you got 911 right there. You could easily call 911. You can easily, when you get the opportunity, you can easily get a cop to you. 911, you was assaulted, blah, blah, blah. A cop's going to come there. And a statement be made. Statement be made. Even if you don't want to get a kid, a statement be made. But this is not what a lot of these women do. This is not to talk about real assault victims. I know it happens. But my thing is, you got a lot of women when they're quote unquote surveyed, this is the mentality they got. This is the mentality. They basically, they know they can get somebody in trouble by doing this, or they can elicit immediate sympathy by doing this. Because dudes are not going to question this type of stuff. Because they'll feel like they're bad people for doing that. So as a result, they just don't. And they just go with whatever these chicks say. A lot of these women are lying. Like, when you say the R word, that means, this is why I always say, so you talk about like what happened in Players Club? Because I want to be specific as what you're talking about. Because to me, sexual assault and R are two different things. R is the extreme version of sexual assault. And I'm not saying one is better. What I'm saying is, you are somebody you can be put on a list. You're not going to be, let's keep it real. You're not going to be put on a sex list because you show somebody your penis. You're not going to be put on a sex list because you grabbed somebody's behind. That is not the same. And a lot of people like to make that all the same to try to control male behavior. And men have kind of allowed to do that way too much. And so I want to hear what you guys think. What do y'all think about what this chick is saying? I may have a general conversation, down the road about this. But what she's doing is very bad. She's a bad person. I am not gonna sugarcoat this. You're not. I'm not about to sit by you. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't feel comfortable even being around you saying that. Like, I'm not about to sit right beside you. And you sitting here saying crazy stuff like that, because that means you can say anything. As far as I'm concerned, all you got to do is you could say a dude try to ask you for your number is ugly, that you think is ugly, was assaulting you. You wanted them, and what that tells me is that's a female that will lie in order to get a man to do what she wants to do. That is stuff that's way too tolerated in this society. It's not good. It is a bad thing. Like, that is crazy. And I'm a lot more calmer than I was when I first heard that, because I was really angry when I heard her say that. And really, I'm very disappointed in Rico saying that. Even Miss Organic wasn't cool with that, but he had to keep up appearances. But again, she's sitting here, it's like, and I would have put that at her. I would have said, this is the type of mentality. Do you know who Brian Banks is? Do you know who Brian Banks is? If she did, she did. Now, I would explain what Brian Banks was. I would say, go look up that documentary. What you just did is the same psychology. You basically just gave the psychology of when women lie on men. This is the psychology. Most of these chicks, when they lie on these dudes, it's because they think they've been done wrong and they want to hurt that dude. You got people that have, you got men that have not made it. I'm talking about women that have come out and said they lied. So we're not even talking about you trying to hold your guns as far as a point. I'm talking about these women say this, they see the reaction, and they have literally, because they know what they did. Like, bro, you can ruin careers lying like that. And see, women are pulling this crap outside the West, because truth be told, other people are... Anyway, let me know what you think. This is Edward signing off. Peace.